Once a crisis management team has been assembled, the next step is to create a crisis communication plan. Broadly speaking, a PR crisis can be broken up into 3 stages: pre-crisis, crisis, and post-crisis management. Let's take a brief look at each to see how you and your team can effectively manage a crisis if one happens. The first step of the pre-crisis phase requires planning and preparation by identifying potential risks, hazards, and vulnerabilities most likely to cause a crisis. Proactive identification of risks and threats allows organizations to create plans and protocols to control and mitigate damage. It can also be worthwhile to examine past crises to see how your organization responded and how their response could be improved. During the preparation phase, it's important to develop key messages and design a media strategy that facilitates effective communication with your stakeholders. This includes delegating roles and responsibilities for communication to ensure that each team member understands their role in the process, and creating messaging plans that outline how to communicate key messages that are consistent with your brand and values. The purpose of the preparation phase is to create a system that's flexible enough to respond to any situation or crisis that may arise. In the event of a crisis, the first step is to thoroughly assess the situation. What is the scale and scope of the crisis? Who is involved? Does it have the potential to affect your bottom line? Regardless of how bad the crisis may initially seem, it's imperative to stay calm and not overreact. While quickly responding to a crisis is important, it's important to fully understand the scope of the situation before releasing any type of message. The next step is to adapt and enact the communication strategy developed in the preparation phase. This will include releasing a statement communicating the incident to stakeholders, ensuring customer service members are equipped with the right messaging, and engaging with the media to respond to any queries. During this process, it's important that your response includes actions to contain the crisis, which means confronting the crisis directly. How you contain your crisis will depend on its nature, but common crisis containment methods include things such as recalling faulty products, offering refunds or discounts, providing additional support to those affected, or rolling out employee sensitivity training. Vital to this phase is your ability to be honest and transparent, express empathy, inform the media promptly, answer questions, and provide updates on any corrective actions. Remember, it's possible that the crisis your organization was involved with was one that inflicted trauma on a certain population. If this is the case, it's important to take extra care in how you communicate with those affected and ensure that your messaging is respectful and mindful of their needs. Once this strategy has successfully been implemented, you'll then move to the post-crisis management phase. Crises often have a long-lasting impact on your customers and stakeholders, so it's important to track customer sentiment and continue implementing necessary measures to mitigate the crisis. It's also important to take time to evaluate the effectiveness of your crisis response. Some questions worth considering are: how could we have handled the crisis better? In what ways can we improve our crisis response in the future? And how can we continue supporting our community during and after this crisis? While communicating during a crisis can be nerve-wracking and complex, PR teams can respond effectively by developing a plan and sticking to it. Through preparation, assessment, response, and continued follow-up, you can maintain control and credibility through an organizational crisis.